Hello, everyone, and welcome to podcast 9 3/4, a Potter podcast. I'm your host, the Half-Blood Princess. In this video, I'm going to discuss who is the better villain between Grindelwald and Voldemort. But before I get started, if you love Harry Potter as much as I do, be sure to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. The two biggest villains in the Harry Potter series are Lord Voldemort and Gellert Grindelwald. Out of the two, I think Grindelwald was the better villain, and here's why. Grindelwald had a vision for the world and knew it couldn't be achieved by sheer brute and force alone, while Voldemort was more one-dimensional with selfish pursuits of power and immortality and controlling his followers by fear. In Fantastic Beasts, Newt Scamander is the main protagonist. However, the story is really like the chronicle of Grindelwald's rise to power and his eventual defeat by Albus Dumbledore. Given we probably won't get the last two movies in the series, if we did, it would come to close in 1945, and the movies could have ended up incorporating the horrors of World War II and the Holocaust, which have already came into play via Grindelwald's vision of the future. Grindelwald is a better villain than Voldemort because his scheme is ultimately grander. Grindelwald has shown his depth and treachery in Fantastic Beasts. For most of the first movie, he was hidden in plain sight, disguised as Percival Graves. However, even in that film, it was apparent that Grindelwald is a better villain than Voldemort, favoring manipulation over force by reaching out to the emotionally traumatized Credence Barebone and offering him interest and affection in exchange for him helping find the New York City's Obscurial. We see Grindelwald gain followers through manipulation throughout the series, and these followers are with Grindelwald because they believe in him, not because of fear. Unlike Voldemort, Grindelwald takes measures to hide his evil nature and motivations. After killing a Muggle family to take over their house, Grindelwald scolds one of his followers for casually spouting anti-Muggle rhetoric, telling him that they don't say those things out loud. It's a sign that Grindelwald cares about moderating his public persona, something that Voldemort never did. Grindelwald tells those who join his rally in the second movie of Fantastic Beasts that Muggles are not lesser, but other, that they can continue to exist and serve a purpose in his planned New World Order. This sneaky approach is what allowed him to win over Queenie Goldstein, who didn't like the magical laws that prevented her from marrying Jacob at the time, which is another example of how Grindelwald got his followers to truly believe in him. In the Harry Potter series, we did eventually learn Voldemort's backstory, that he was the son of an exiled witch from a fallen pureblood family, and that his father was a Muggle who was tricked into marriage through the use of a love potion. I do like this backstory, and I thought it did bring a lot of depth to Voldemort's character. Voldemort was never really shown to be a particularly skilled manipulator of people. Instead, it showed that he would choose to exert his control through fear to the point that witches and wizards were terrified to even speak his name aloud. He never offered any pretense of having a noble cause, where having the Muggle world's well-being was in his best interest. His followers were made up of pureblood witches and wizards who feared him almost as much as everyone else did. And during his second rise to power, most of them returned to his side out of fear rather than loyalty. Voldemort's approach to power is also reflected in the fact that his strategizing left a lot to be desired. He created his own worst enemy in Harry Potter by attempting to kill him as a baby, thereby crippling himself and leaving Harry with an extra layer of protection. With Voldemort versus Grindelwald, Voldemort's most complex plan was executed in Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire when he planted Barty Crouch Jr. in disguise at Hogwarts and manipulated the entirety of the Triwizard Tournament so that Harry would grab the Triwizard Cup at the end, which turned into a portkey to be transferred to the graveyard where Tom Riddle Sr. was buried. This plan was almost overcomplicated, especially since the only thing Voldemort actually needed for his ritual was a few drops of Harry's blood, which Crouch could have gotten at any time. In Deathly Hallows Part 2, all it takes is for the Death Eaters to see that Harry has survived Voldemort's killing curse a second time, and many of them disapparate on the spot and leave Voldemort's side. Perhaps Grindelwald's greatest and most unsettling strength as a villain is the fact that there's actually some merit to his arguments, even if they are just a cover for his darker intentions. He taps into the wizard world, frustration about being forced to stay secret for the benefit of muggles, despite muggles being weaker than them. He also provokes the Ministry of Magic into a harsh and heavy-handed response, pushing them to crack down on any support of his ideas, and in turn, generating greater resentment against the current establishment. Overall, Grindelwald is just a better villain in his approach to evil when it comes down to it. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section and be sure to like and subscribe. Okay, love you. Bye.